What's up, suds? As you might know, recently it snowed in Texas for like a whole week, so I was stuck inside with my sweetness for an entire week with nowhere to go, and I was just locked inside. So on like day 4, I decided to make soap cupcakes. It's the first time that I've really made soap cupcakes, and they're mini ones, so they're like this tall. They're like an inch wide or something. So this is the first time that I've really made mini cupcakes in soap. Um, really, I made 4 of them, and I thought about doing all 4 of them in this one video, but while I was editing, I saw how long this video was and was like, if I do all 4 of them, it's going to be an hour and a half video, and I don't know if I'm about that. So I'm going to show you one cupcake at a time. This one is going to be my strawberries and cream cupcake, which I made look like strawberry shortcake. Enjoy! So after 5 days of being snowed in my house, I decided to make cupcakes today. I picked out 4 scents, but I don't know how many I'll actually be able to do today because I only have 10 little tiny cupcake molds. So the first scent that I'm going to be doing is strawberries and cream. And I'm going to do, this is about half a pound, because they're little tiny cupcakes. They're like this big. So I'm doing half a pound for the base, and then I'm going to make another half pound small batch for the icing. So for the strawberries and cream, I want my soap to be just at emulsion, maybe a light trace, because the fragrance that I'm using is a Hobby Lobby fragrance, and they smell super duper good. They always smell awesome. But they tend to accelerate. The 2 or 3 fragrances that I've used before from Hobby Lobby accelerated really bad. So I'm always kind of prepared for that. So this is my base, and I'm going to make it a yellow sponge cake color is what I'm going for, and this is the colors that I mixed together. It's 1/4 teaspoon of lemon mica, and just a little tiny, like, CC spoon of gold. Because I don't want it to be super bright, but I don't want it to be brown. I want it to be a nice, like, sponge cake color. Normally I have this diluted already in oil, but I kind of forgot about it. So I'm just going to dump all of this in here. I forgot to dilute it before I did that, but that's okay. So hopefully this won't turn into too much of a gold or too much of a yellow, or I'm wanting it to be very like strawberry shortcake colored, which this is looking a little bit golden, but that's alright. The sponge cakes can be just a little bit overcooked. It's okay. So adding the dry mica like that usually speeds up acceleration, which I don't want to do since I'm using a Hobby Lobby fragrance, but it looks like nothing is happening, so that's good. So I'm just going to make sure that it's all completely mixed in, super duper good, and then I'm going to add 0.3 ounces of strawberries and cream fragrance oil. So this is the color of my soap right now. I think it'll even out pretty good. Hopefully this fragrance does not discolor, since it's from Hobby Lobby, which just kind of has hobby crafts. They don't have a lot of notes on their fragrances. I use the normal 5% or so of fragrance oil, but most of them accelerate, and I only know that because I've used them before, and they tend to accelerate. If any of them discolor or rice, you kind of have to use them and see what it is. So the strawberries and cream might not accelerate, whereas the baby powder that I used before accelerated really bad in the soap that I made. You kind of just have to use each fragrance to see what's up. So since I'm not sure if it's going to accelerate or not, I'm not going to use that little blender that I was using, that little mixer. I'm going to mix the fragrance in with my spatula. And it already kind of turned some of the soap kind of a brownie color. So I'm hoping really, really bad that it doesn't discolor my soap. I don't think it'll affect the base, this batch, very much, but my frosting, I want to be white. So I'm hoping that it doesn't affect that any. So it's looking like the fragrance is not accelerating at all, which is good. Now I know that this fragrance won't accelerate the next time I want to use it. I was actually kind of hoping and planning on it accelerating, however, because thicker soap is kind of preferable for soap cupcakes, because the bottom has to be set up enough to hold the icing, and the batter for the top icing needs to be thick enough to pipe. So I'll have to accelerate this a little bit. I might need my stick blender. This will actually be, the stick blender will be super useful for one of my other cupcake fragrances. I want to do fresh bamboo, which the notes on it say that it rices, and the only way, or the best way, to get rid of ricing is with an actual stick blender, but it accelerates. Fresh bamboo also accelerates, which is why it rices. I'm pretty sure that's typical of ricing fragrance oils. They rice because they accelerate, and because they rice, and you have to stick blend them, it makes them accelerate a lot more. But this low power stick blender will be super good to just kind of get rid of some of the ricing for my fresh bamboo cupcakes. Alright, and these are my tiny cupcake molds. They're super duper tiny. I only have 10 of them, so I'm really not sure how many this is going to fill up. I want to say between 6 and 8, from what I remember of doing a small cupcake batch, but I don't know super for sure, so we're going to find out together. Now I'm going to be soaping a little bit higher than I normally do, at a higher temperature than I normally do, because when you soap at a higher temperature, you are more likely to accelerate your soap, which is exactly what I need. I still don't really want to use my big stick blender, just because it's such a shallow and small amount of soap that I don't want to put a whole bunch of air bubbles into the soap by using my big stick blender. But this is all emulsified. It's not at a trace quite yet, and I'm going to add another 0.3 ounces of fragrance to this, and then I'm going to add just a little bit of titanium dioxide. That way the icing is a nice white color. I am a little bit worried about putting 0.3 ounces into the frosting and 0.3 ounces into the actual cupcake, and I'm worried that it might be a little bit too strong. But both of these amounts are still skin safe. They're not going to irritate you because of the amount of soap that I'm putting them in. I'm just a little bit worried that the scent itself might be a bit strong on people's noses. But it's a really, really good scent. It smells exactly like strawberries and cream. So I'm a little bit surprised. I'm a little bit impressed with Hobby Lobby. Usually you have to go to a really expensive, well, not really expensive, but a name brand type place to get spot-on fragrances like this. Places like Brambleberry or Nurture Soap or something like that to get really good fragrance oils. Alright, and now I'm going to add just a little bit of titanium dioxide. This soap base, without fragrance, will naturally turn white because of the oils that I use. But I want to use some titanium dioxide also, just to make sure that it's as white as I can get it, since I don't know what's going to happen with this fragrance oil. Alright, so right now it's kind of a white cream color, a light cream color, because the soap base, when it's melted like this, is kind of yellow colored because of the olive oil. But once it starts to harden and cure, it'll turn white as it solidifies, as the oils solidify it, because palm oil and coconut oil are both white. I'm going to put just a little tiny bit more. And that'll be good for the titanium dioxide for the TV. Because I'm still not sure how much vanilla the strawberries and cream has in it. There's kind of no reversing discoloration from vanilla in soap, in cold process soap at least, but you can kind of minimize it depending on how bad it is with titanium dioxide. If it just turns to like a light tan color or yellowy kind of color, you can minimize the discoloration with some TD. Alright, so looks like so it's still at a really thin trace, but I'm going to let it sit for a minute or two while I set up my piping bag, because I didn't do that yet. So I'm pretty sure my batter is now at the right consistency. This is kind of what it looks like now. I tried it a second ago or a few minutes ago, and it kind of just... Oh, okay, this is too thin. This is way too thin. But now I've let it sit for a few more minutes, and I'm just going to put all of it in here. There we go. And it's heavy enough that it kind of needs a minute to settle to the bottom of the bag. Alright, hopefully this doesn't run out like it did before. Let's see here. So now I'm all ready to pipe. I'm going to put a little bit of a dollop in the middle of each cupcake. That way the icing has something to lean on and it's not just hollow on the inside and it might fall down. is a little bit of a mica drizzle. I have red mica in here, diluted with olive oil. And I've never done a mica drizzle before, but I don't know, hopefully it comes out good. I wanted to do red since it's strawberries and cream and make it look good. So. I'm actually not even sure how I'm going to clean this pipette when I'm done with it, but that's a problem for future Maddie. I think they might actually come out pretty good. Since I'm using oil for the mica drizzle, and I'm using it on wet soap, it will, as the soap cures and dries out, it will absorb the oil so that it's just a red accent line on top of the icing. I was hoping that it would look a little bit like strawberry preserves kind of running off the sides. Alright, so those are my cupcakes. This is what they look like. I think they look extremely good. We've got some mica drizzle on them. They look kind of yummy. So I made the strawberries and cream cupcakes first because my sweetness helped me decide the order and he liked that scent. This is how they ended up coming out. I think they are super duper cute. They came out kind of perfect. I think next time I'll be a little easy on the mica drizzle. It got kind of on the actual cupcake a little tiny bit. And I also kind of ran out of mica at the very end. This one doesn't have as much mica drizzle on it. But they're still super duper cute. And I super like them. I learned a really lot from making these cupcakes, these strawberries and cream ones, and also the other 3 that I made. So I'll be letting you know about all that later. I'm really glad you enjoyed the video, and if you did, let me know by leaving a like on this video. It lets me know that you liked it. And I hope you have an awesome rest of your day. Thanks!